this episode, I am sitting down with Rory Farr, Head of Planning and Development at Mad Swans, a brand new resort in the Mendips that is reimagining what a modern leisure destination can look like. We filmed this one a little while back and I'm only just getting it out, but the conversation is well worth the wait. We're talking investment decisions, scaling a brand new business, commercial logic behind premium mini golf, and what any operator in an industry needs to know before they commit to something similar. Fair warning, we lost the camera unexpectedly towards the end of this one. It cuts off a little sooner than we would have liked, but there's plenty in here worth your time. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Rory. For anyone listening who hasn't visited, Mad Swans resists easy categorization. I mean, it's built on the bones of an old golf club, but it's become something much broader than that. How would you describe what it is today to someone coming across it for the first time?
Sure. So at the very heart of Mad Swans is inclusivity. And one of our slogans is it's a breath of fresh air. So we're always just trying to do something a little bit different and evolve things beyond what people consider a traditional golf club. Here we sort of describe Mad Swans as a countryside hangout, and it's a space for everyone to use in however they see fit. And we're very much trying to make golf much more accessible, both in terms of affordability, in terms of the time spent out on the golf course, which is one of the biggest barriers, and sort of make golf fit for the next century rather than the previous century.
Amazing. You've only been open for a few months, largely over the winter, which is never the easiest trading period for any leisure venue. What have those first months told you about who your guest actually is, and has it matched what you originally imagined?
Yes. So opening in January is a tough time to open for any hospitality project, specifically one with a focus on sport and being out in nature. What has been a real pleasure has our business model sort of coming to life and seeing a wide mix of people from the age of 8 to 80, and not just probably the most typical demographic of middle-aged men. So it's really exciting to see groups of young girls, older women out on paddle courts, on the golf course, trying it for the first time. So no, it's been so far so good on seeing a wider people use the site.
Good stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about the kind of business case for some of the attractions and stuff you have here. I mean, you've got golf, you've got paddle, gym, classes, food and drink, accommodation, a genuinely diverse offer from kind of day one. But I want to ask about the decision-making process behind building that mix, because I think it's relevant to a lot of people listening who might be in hospitality, leisure, or any kind of destination business. How do you evaluate whether a new amenity or a facility is worth the investment? What does that conversation actually look like internally?
It's a really good question. And when we sort of built out the idea of Mad Swans, there were 3 key pillars for us, which is sport, hospitality, and sustainability. We did a lot of research out in the US, who seems to be sort of, as always, a little bit ahead of the curve on some things, such as pop stroke, pickleball, which is obviously one of the fastest growing sports in the world, and now paddle being a booming sport out there as well. When it comes to new ideas, at the moment, as we're very new, we're trying to get the core aspects right, which are all the things you mentioned previously: accommodation, paddle, pickle, our amazing mini golf putting course, and swing barn, which is akin to a sort of top tracer style driving range, where you can enjoy cocktails, food, and sort of a great place to socialize. A lot of it comes down to economics and the need to diversify. And I think your customers are your greatest ambassadors and champions for change as well. So they are very good indicators on what else might be a worthwhile decision. And obviously, things have to stack up. It has to be aligning with your brand, has to make sense economically. And it's just a plethora of different sort of subject matters that come into question when making the decision if it's worth the investment.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's a version of diversification that just adds noise, and you end up with a lot of things that are kind of mediocre rather than a focused offer that's excellent. How do you make sure that everything you add genuinely earns its place and contributes to the overall experience rather than kind of diluting it?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic question. And when we set out to do this, we wanted to make Mad Swans a place for everyone to come and hang out in and at. So again, the putt patch, which is the name for our sort of the putting course built by Greenspan was a key component part to the success of making golf more accessible for the wider community. And naturally, with these types of activities, we had a big focus on competitive socializing. With Putt Patch, we are able to do interactive darts, interactive shuffleboard, and there are just a few things that all tie neatly together. I wouldn't say there's any sort of specific science, especially creating a brand. It just, it sort of multiplies and grows in various ways, but sticking to the core elements and just adding a bolt on, not for the sake of it. It has to be well considered and well thought through.
Dwell time is something fascinating as a commercial metric. It's something that we talk about quite regularly at Greenspan and in kind of social entertainment and family entertainment spaces. But, it's something that golf venues and golf clubs haven't really considered until quite recently as being a metric for performance. The longer someone stays, the more they spend, the more likely they are to come back. How central is that to how you think about the Mad Swans offer, and how does each element of the resort get evaluated against that?
No, it's really, really key. One of the rationale behind all of the offers that we have is the attention span of most people is decreasing at a fairly rapid rate. And so we are hoping to pioneer 12-hole golf in the UK. And again, that massively and 2 loops of 6. So one can play 6, 12, 18, 24 holes or however many they wish to do. And it's the same on our mini golf course that we decide to do 12 holes rather than 18. And by shortening the experience, people want to try it again because they don't leave being tired or bored. And again, it allows them to use other facilities as well, where a 18-hole traditional course might take up to 5 hours. Our 12-hole golf course can finish in 2.5, which allows you to then actually enjoy lunch rather than rush off home. It allows you to play paddle, which, typically book for an hour to an hour and a half. Same with pickleball. And our putting course gets you around in about 40 minutes, which seems to be an appropriate times. And again, swing barn, which is our version of a driving range. Again, you can book the bays for half an hour. So again, it's sort of allowing people to have flexibility in the hours that they spend here.
Amazing. So you've touched on it already, but let's get into the putting course specifically, because I think the decision to invest in one is more interesting than it might appear on the surface. A lot of people still associate mini golf with seaside arcades and windmills. And what was the conversation that made you take it seriously as a genuine business investment?
No, absolutely. I think it all started right at the very beginning of what Mad Swans could be. And again, sort of off-course golf entertainment has sort of grown stratospheric, as has other versions of sort of competitive socializing in the sport sphere. And we were very drawn to new concepts in the golfing world, one of which is obviously mini golf, which everyone's seen as sometimes gimmicky, sometimes just for young children. And we were extremely impressed by a concept called pot stroke, which is sort of Tiger Woods' concept out in the US. And we sort of wanted to explore that a little bit more. And what's amazing about it is that a very, very good golfer who wants to just practice his putting can use the course simultaneously as those wanting to have fun with a cocktail and sort of a dating scene. And the joy of our sort of putting course here is anyone from the ages of 4 to 90 can go around. They play against guys practicing before they go out on their round, or there's a 30th birthday party and they're having cocktails and sitting on our fairly significant mounds that we've built.
Yeah, hyper accessible. Yeah. So even in just a few months of trading, you must be starting to get a sense of who is gravitating towards it, because a putting course in a resort context serves a very different guest to the one who has come to play 18 holes. I mean, what are the early signs telling you about who is using it and how it's sitting within the broader guest experience?
So I think, again, it really is something that everyone seems to be using because it's right at the heart of the resort. And you literally have people go, oh my God, that looks amazing. Am I allowed to try that? And they've never ever picked up a golf club in their entire life. So it really brings in such a broader group of people trying golf for the very first time. And again, once it gets a little bit better weather, we'll hopefully be able to see a few more people out there using it.
Amazing. So I want to ask you something that I think will resonate with anyone listening who runs any kind of leisure or hospitality business, whether that's a resort, a cruise line with a private island, or even a casino
Yeah.
looking to broaden its offer, or even, like you say, a standalone golf club that's maybe looking to broaden their horizons. What is it about premium mini golf specifically that works as an investment in a way that other add-on amenities don't?
Absolutely. I think it's hyper accessible, low maintenance, easy to operate. It's all fairly self-explanatory, and it's one of those wonderful sort of things that you can really gear up the operational elements. And you, for instance, here at Mad Swans, you can order pizza out onto the course, you can order cocktails, or alternatively, other sites may just wish to let people just go around and play and then sort of sit back into the terrace or restaurant. But it's it's a much more of a one-off cost, a bit of a regular maintenance, and then the payback is quick, and it's very worthwhile investment.
Cool. And we can always, I mean, I can definitely say from personal experience that this is what you would probably call a premium environment. Pricing is always a fascinating thing in a premium context. You know, you want to position it as a quality experience without making it feel exclusionary to the exact audience that you're trying to attract. How did you land on your kind of pricing model, and what was the thinking behind that?
Absolutely. We're very grateful that you think our product is premium, but we very much like to say that we're affordable, and we absolutely welcome everyone. Our golf courses, the dynamic pricing. So on a Tuesday, we one pricing, on a Saturday morning, maybe slightly higher, but it allows lots of different people to utilize that. And again, we didn't want to be hyper exclusive. A big push for us to welcome everyone to the world of Mad Swans, and obviously a big focus within that is golf. And at the moment, the barriers to participation are very high because cost of equipment is expensive, green fees are expensive. So we're very much trying to be in the affordable bracket. For example, our mains start at sort of £16, and a go on the paddle court is £20. And our wonderful family putting course starts at sort of £12 as well. We have a other wonderful brand partner called Callaway, and they have kindly helped us sponsor the putting course. So we have an awesome gumball machine, and everyone gets to take home a colourful Callaway and Mad Swans branded golf ball.
Nice. So just talking now on the kind of partnership with Greenspan, the quality of the design is a big part of what separates what you've built here from a standard kind of crazy golf or mini golf installation. How did the relationship with Greenspan come about? Was it something that you went looking for, or did it find you?
Greenspan found us, and simultaneously we were looking for someone to help create us this product. So it was sort of, well, now we know, a match made in heaven, as we're working with Greenspan on our second site in Mad Swans in the South Downs. And we met all of the team at Greenspan, and there was a very easy and instant connection, and it's clear they're a strong team that always deliver on time and on budget, which is always just a nice thing that rarely happens in the world of hospitality development.
Yeah, that is true. So for anyone thinking about commissioning something like this, I think the difference between hiring a supplier and working with a genuine creative partner is enormous. And it shows in the end product. What did that collaboration actually look like, and where did the process produce something neither of you would have arrived at independently?
No, absolutely. I think it was totally collaborative. Again, the team at Greenspan are absolute geniuses, so we sort of deferred to them for all the technical design and know-how. And ridiculously, all we wanted, which was very simple, was very high abundance, is what we call them, which just allows people to sit down and sort of lie down and play and have a cocktail in the summer. So it was a fairly simple element to get to, but I think we were warned on multiple occasions that it won't work, or you'll compromise the golf holes, which we didn't want to do. But I think we all ended up at a happy place where our putting course is unique and probably one of the first of its kind in the UK, at least, which is just an exciting thing certainly has to be a part of, but fingers crossed the same for Greenspan.
Yeah, absolutely is. And I think, from our perspective, I think that the collaborative desire to have higher buns around the outside, although it came with technical challenges from a kind of building perspective, I think that the impression that it gives now is just, it's like, for anyone who's played any sort of like kind of high-end golf, it's so reminiscent of some of the most amazing kind of links courses where you've got, holes are not framed by trees, they're framed by massive sand dunes. And it kind of feels like that in a way. And I absolutely love it. It does look fantastic. And even though I understand that the South Downs one now has slightly lower bunding, it's still pretty dramatic for most golf
I
courses.
think it's very dramatic. I think actually there are some areas that are even higher than the one in the Mendips. So no, again, it's just it's a real eye catcher. And again, but the one thing that we were very clear on it, and Team Greenspan helped us get there, was that we didn't want it to be flat. The point of Mad Swans is to make you smile. Our interiors are a bit garish. It's probably not something that garish is the wrong word. Fun, bright, colourful, and it may not be something you want in your bedroom. But everything that we do, from the playlist that we have to the food that we serve, it's to hopefully to make you smile. And I think it's very difficult to walk past the family party course that we created together and not sort of have a little wry smile.
Absolutely. So the brief for a bespoke course is genuinely complex. It has to feel premium and reference real golf design principles, but it also has to be enjoyable for someone who's never held a club. How do you communicate that brief effectively? I know you've mentioned that obviously you relied quite heavily on Greenspan to provide that know-how. So how did you know though that what came out of it at the end kind of delivered on that?
No, absolutely. We were another one of our partners, and something at Mad Swans we love to do is create sort of long-term partnerships. And we are very fortunate to work with Tom McKenzie of McKenzie & Ebert, which is sort of one of Europe's leading golf course architects. He's designed our golf courses at our two sites, and he was on hand as sort of the preeminent architect to help sort of agree, approve, amend all of the designs. And there were very, very few changes. And when someone like Tom McKenzie is telling you that Greenspan are awesome, it's a very easy thing to trust and believe in the process. And sort of, because it was our first time, yes, lots of learning curves and things as well, building a putting course. But we were walked through, looked after extremely well, and any changes, amendments were never too difficult to do.
So I want to briefly touch on the South Downs project. You've got a second site already in development there on the site of, again, another kind of former golf club that you've acquired, which is a really interesting starting point because you're not building from scratch. You're taking something that's existing and elevating it to a new level that becomes wholly more attractive. What does that rejuvenation process look like? And what are the particular challenges of upgrading an existing venue versus building afresh?
So, it's a really, really great question. And I think it's much easier to sort of knock everything down and start from afresh, particularly when dealing with buildings. With the wider landscape and things, South Downs is built on clay and is extremely wet, boggy site, which doesn't lend itself very well to sort of a golf course in general, as well as any putting course. Significant amount of drainage and things has to go into it. And making it the best that it can be and playable year round is an important thing. Before we made any changes to the golf course, it was closed almost 3 months of the year. And now we're hoping for it to be playable 365. So a lot of work goes into that. And again, within the buildings in and of themselves, you've got to work with all of the oddities that come with it.
And so the mini golf's going in at the South Downs as well. And again, it's another kind of bespoke design, but on an entirely different piece of land, as you've mentioned. So it kind of needed its own ground up approach rather than being just a repeat of the Mendips course. And that kind of has in a commercial sense as well. You don't just want to kind of cookie cutter it. So what does that process look like the second time around? What did you carry over from the experience of the first build with us? And what kind of genuinely has to start from scratch in doing that?
Absolutely. I think, again, it's learning the best holes on the course and why they're the best holes, whether it's length, whether it's the difficulty, etc. And obviously it's finding the right balance on pulling all of that together. What works really well or what hasn't worked well. So all of that gets fed into the initial design, and obviously within limitations of the landscape, how big it can be. Again, I wanted to maintain consistency with it being a 12-hole putting course. But for instance, this time around, the entire of the perimeter is quite heavily bunded, which makes it sort of like a coliseum, an arena, and very excited to sort of create leaderboard events for that kind of thing and a sort of full takeovers where everyone's sort of sitting around it and it becomes quite a space.
And that's it. So thanks so much again for tuning in on this one. I hope you found it as useful and interesting as I did recording it. If you're enjoying the podcast and getting value from these conversations, please do like and subscribe to Made to Imagine wherever you're listening, and come to find us on social media. It genuinely makes a difference. And if you want to find out more about the work we're doing with Mad Swans and other projects like it, head over to greenspanlimited.com. That's greenspanltd.com. There's plenty more to explore over there, and we'll see you on the next one.